Hi guys, welcome back to the Tech Diary. This is my second channel where I take forever to get to the point, and sometimes I'm not at home. I'm in a completely different country, and that is definitely the case today. As always, I want you to guess where I am in the comments down below. Now, I've come off the beaten track a little bit just to try and throw you, but it is tricky in this city. That's the first clue, it is a city. It's very tricky here to not give the game away. But anyway, get involved down below. These tech videos are a bit different. If you've just found this channel, they're much more rambling, and as I kind of alluded to, I don't get to the point straight away. I think what's interesting is that we're getting an increasing number of comments on these videos from people who are saying, I prefer this. I prefer this to your main channel. I like the conversational nature of it. I like the fact that you don't edit, it's just one take, and as a result, a little bit waffly. That's really encouraging because it means there's an audience, obviously, for the main channel, which is fantastic. I'm very proud of that. But equally, there's clearly an audience for these kind of pub chats. It's a bit one way, I know, but you guys do get involved in the comments to a serious degree. So thank you so much if you like these videos and get involved. Make sure you hit that button. Let's get to the point straight away now. This week we've had new Google phones announced. So we've had the Pixel 10, the 10 Pro, the 10 Pro XL, and the 10 Pro Fold. And what else? New buds, and that just moved down. That's probably also giving the game away as to where I am. But that little red ball definitely just, there it goes. It's going up. Interesting. Let's go and stand over here. This could make this video much more interesting. Yeah, so we've had the Pixel 10, the 10 Pro, the 10 Pro XL, and the 10 Pro Fold. Now, this is turning into a completely different video. Look at this, look. And also, I've just totally given the game away as to where I am. I think this is going to come down in a second. Let's get this angle while I'm talking about the Pixels. So, new Pixel phones, and about a month ago I went to Paris with Google to check them out. They gave me some hands-on time with them. Now it was very much a brief hands-on. We couldn't go past the login screens. We couldn't do any of the we couldn't try any of the features out ourselves. Is this thing going to come down? No idea. We had to have demos controlled demos from Google staff. That's fine, no problem with that at all. This was an early look at these new phones, and what we saw looked very, very interesting. Here we go, it's going to do something. Maybe not. If you're still watching this video, thank you. This is the weirdest tech video I've ever made. So we had a very brief hands-on session with these phones, and I've made a video about that, which is on the main channel. We'll link to that at the end of this video, actually, so you can go and check this out. Go and check that out. But it was really interesting for two reasons. One of them was that, is this thing ever going to come? It won't now, will it? Now I'm standing next to it. This is not going to come down. That ball should drop, I think. If you excuse the pun. Okay, let's just stand here for a minute while I'm quickly getting sunburnt as well. Yeah, so brief hands-on session with the new Pixel phones. But what was interesting, two things. Firstly, they look very similar to the existing devices. So the Pixel 9, the 9 Pro, all the current phones. It's not a huge design upgrade at all. All of the changes really are internal. The displays are better. There's more AI stuff and that kind of stuff. So that, in terms of, here we go. Why does it do that? There you go, interesting. Has that given the game away? Possibly. Getting back to the point. Up it goes. Amazing. I love this place. That will obviously have significance, but I don't know what the significance is. Anyway, excuse me, anyway. I love these videos, I really do. Yeah, so the first reason it was interesting is because they look very similar to the previous devices. And I don't have a problem with that at all. These are phones. What can you do with a rectangular slab of glass and metal? You can't. There's not much more you can do with these things. So I've got no problem with that whatsoever. The Fold is a bit different. So it has slightly different dimensions. It's not the big, excuse the pun, for want of a better phrase, it's not the big design change that Samsung has made to the Fold. You know, the Fold 7 is so much thinner than the Fold 6, so they haven't gone down that thinnable route, but they have changed some of the dimensions, so the screens are slightly bigger, and I think the bezels are slightly smaller as well. But apart from that, they look pretty much the same. The other reason it's really interesting, people always walk out of doors when I'm doing these videos, and it's still a bit weird talking to yourself. The other reason this was a very, very interesting release is for one feature in particular, and it's getting all the headlines, predictably, and it's the fact that the new Pixel phones have something called Pixel Snap. Now, Pixel Snap, if you haven't seen this, is basically very, very similar to MagSafe for the iPhone. Very, very similar insofar as it has pretty much the same magnet structure on the back of the phone, which means you can connect wallets to it, chargers, a whole bunch of accessories basically. And apparently it's compatible with, you know what's coming, with MagSafe accessories. So in theory, if you have an iPhone, for instance, and you've got a bunch of MagSafe accessories which attach to, let's get my iPhone out of my pocket, which is still the 16E by the way, which doesn't have MagSafe, interestingly. Why is face tracking stopped on here? Hang on, bear with me. Start face tracking. Detecting, that'll make my life easier. Yeah, so that magnet structure, the only reason I have that on my iPhone 16E is because a dog's come to join me. Awesome. Does it have an owner? It's got a collar, it must have. What an eclectic video this is. Yeah, the only reason I have MagSafe on my 16E is because I have a case on it. But anyway, I digress. That magnet structure is now on, or built into the new Pixel phones. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it means if you've got an iPhone and all those accessories, and the one thing holding you back from going to something, or one of the things holding you back from going to something like the Pixel is the lack of MagSafe, not anymore. It works, and they have Qi 2 charging, which is fast and all the rest of it. So I guess you could argue that this is probably the smallest feature on the new Pixels, because there's loads of AI stuff and, you know, a new chip, camera improvements and all these things. But the fact that they now have a MagSafe competitor is very, very interesting. And it begs the question, is it now a lot easier to switch to the Pixel and to an Android phone from your iPhone? And more importantly, are you going to do that? That's the other question I have for you. Are you going to get involved with Pixel this year? Is this the year where you think, no, I've had enough of the iPhone, I'm switching, I'm going for an Android device, I'm going for the purest Android device, and the one that has a MagSafe-like capability so I can still use all my accessories and all that stuff? Is that you? The reason I ask that is because I keep seeing comments from people who are saying, I'm fed up with the iPhone. This is the year I need to switch. I think what a lot of people have been waiting for is the phone to switch to, because it's not as simple as just doing that. You know, Apple does lock you in to the ecosystem. They keep you there. You know, they kind of get their teeth into what you do. They get, you know, you end up buying a watch, you buy a tablet, you buy a TV, TV box, you buy a MacBook, an iMac, Mac Mini, you get everything basically, and you end up in their ecosystem. So coming out of that is a bit of a pain. However, Google realizes this, which is why, aside from Pixel Snap, we have things like Google Photos, because the one thing I think that prevents most people from switching is their photo library. I had this conversation with my mum about 6 months ago. She said, can I just try one of those Android phones, one of those million Android phones you've got? Can I give it a go? I'm thinking about switching. And I said, you can, no problem at all, but I'll give it 3 days. maximum, you'll want to come back because of all your photos which are stuck in iCloud. And she thought about it and decided that, yeah, I was right, and why on earth would you want to do that? You might be the same. I used to be the same until I put all of my photos in Google Photos, all of them. I still use iPhoto. Is it called iPhoto? No, it's just called Photos, isn't it? Is it called iCloud Library? Whatever it's called. The Photos part of iCloud, I still use that, but to a much lesser extent. So everything gets backed up immediately from all of my phones into Google Photos. And Google Photos is so much better than the Photos app on the iPhone. So much better. Easier to use, has really nice suggestions for edits and that sort of stuff. It's just fantastic. And it's very easy to get all of your stuff into there, all of your photos. So we have a proper MagSafe alternative. We have no excuse really not to go to Google Photos. And we have hardware, which I think personally is better than the iPhone. I think the Pixel phones offer better specs. The chip you could question, I suppose, in terms of performance and benchmarks and that sort of stuff, but I don't find any of that interesting whatsoever. In everyday use, they feel the same. But certainly in terms of hardware, I think Pixel photos personally take better. Pixel cameras, Pixel phones take better photos than the iPhone. That's very subjective, but my opinion. Is there any reason not to switch? That's the question I have for you. So, 2 questions. Where am I? I've been walking around the same bit for the last 10, 11 minutes, but that's just because it's quieter and it's out of the sun. So yeah, where am I? Get involved down below on that one, and let me know what you think about the new Pixels. Are you tempted? I am, as always. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting this far in this video. Thank you for subscribing if you already have. If you haven't and if you enjoyed this video, think about clicking that button, please, and give it a like if you've enjoyed it. I love making these videos. They're so different to the main channel, and I know quite a lot of you like them as well, which is great. So I'm going to head back into where I am and catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys. See you next week.